Welcome back, everybody, to the Irish Furian. I am the Irish Furian, and we're going to play easy and quiet and soft and just take it step by step by step. Okay. So, yeah, this is just another one of these impromptus. Going to take it easy. It's funny, my mug here has a big chip in it. See? My mug is a big chip. My mug has a big chip in it. My mug has a big chip in it, and funny, some people are really funny about chips. They're really funny about chips and mugs, I like it. I've been talking to friends and I do that. And they go, "Oh my God, your mug has a huge chip in it." And I'm going, "Yeah, yeah, you've got to change that. That's really bad. That's really bad." I was like, "Oh, why? Why? It's just, kind of bacteria and all the rest of it. A chip, like, because it hasn't got the smooth glaze on it. So, actually, but the deal is, you see, the chip is on the outside. It's on the other side of where I drink from. And the chip is on the outside of the mug, not on the inside. You see? All right, so this is just an easygoing impromptu chat. I'll stay on for 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And anybody who wants to just chat away there, and I'll chat with them. And that's the way this goes. Taking it easy, taking it easy. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, I was saying to Philip O'Dwyer there yesterday that, my role in all of this, what I see my role on my channel is, my role is to help explain concepts, I think, that are quite complicated. I'm not always great with details. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, just like anybody else. But I think that is acceptable when the value of the message that's being brought across exceeds the what we're saying, making mistakes with tiny details at times. So, I see my role on this channel as, there needs to be the truth, and it's not to be a truth or channel. I'm not going to start talking about flat Earth models and all of that, even though those are fantastic, raging discussions to have between the globe Earth model, flat Earth model, whatever you want to say, the egg-shaped model, the hollow Earth model, blah 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 blah. Is there space? Is there not space? Did we go to the moon? All these kind of truth or things, which are great to talk about, but that's not what I'm talking about. For me, the truth is about, we say, is that there? Is it not there? Do we both agree that that is there? Do we both agree that it's not there? Do we both agree that that works like that? Or do we both agree that it doesn't work like that? And so that, to me, is the objective truth. The objective truth is where we both meet in the middle and have a consensus and agreement on the fact that something is, and that is, for me, important, because if you don't speak the truth as you see it, if you intentionally lie about what is real and what is objectively true, what you do is you break your moral compass. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that the little arrow that points north inside of yourself, that gives you the ability to direct yourself in life, can get broken. So what if you ever hear that term, a moral compass, one of the things that actually hones a moral compass really well is speaking the truth, even if it goes against your lifelong learned mode for surviving in life, which is to use lies. And many people do, believe it or not. Many people do actually go through life as a learned way of being, having learned it in their family of origin, to actually lie as a way to survive and get on in life. However, the problem with that is that when you lie, you lose direction. Your moral compass starts to swing around. There's no up or down. It's basically there is no, we say, gaugeable up or down or left or right. There's only what you yourself actually deem it to be, and that's what we've been told for the past 20, 30 years, if not more, that we can be our own. We can be our own creators of the truth, creators of reality, creators. But then, that's almost childlike thinking, because it's like going, well, I can make that be whatever it is. I can have a. Well, the master, I would agree with that to some degree. Then again, I like when you say the Irish, do you mean all the Irish, or do you mean some of the Irish, or do you mean a percentage? And if you mean a percentage, what percentage? So it gets into a tricky area when you use a generalized term like that. It then becomes you're then casting a brush over everybody, and everybody's not going to be the same, obviously. But I hear what you're saying. The Irish have lost their way quite a bit, and I hear you. So I'm going to say the Irish have lost their way. I'm doing the same thing. I'm casting an aspersion over all people within the island of Ireland who are Irish. So yeah, honing your moral compass with telling the truth is a technique, and it is a good technique for, say, going forward into a future which is based on a more solid foundation for calling what something is. And there's that term, ought or is or ought or is. No, well, an ought doesn't make an is. Is that what it is? So, like, these morning chats, they're not just to be heady, deep stuff. These morning chats can also be about anything to do with anything, like as in growing food, types of soil types. Talk about, with, say, seed types like heirloom, the commercialization of seeds, what type of water is best, what type of compost is best. I want to talk about stuff that is also about self-reliance. Excuse me, self-reliance and sustainability. I want people to come on and talk about those kind of things. Or like I know a blacksmith, and he's a young guy. He's only 28, but man, does he have a nice setup. He has got a gorgeous forge. He's got all types of metal cutting and metal bending tools. He's got belt sanders. He's got and he has the actual traditional coke, not charcoal, but coke fired forge over in the corner. It's like a big black basin where there's an air duct that blows up into it and actually heats it up so much that he actually puts, with, say, different types of tool steel and stuff like that, and brings it out onto his anvil and then bangs the metal into shape. So he's not only a metal worker, he's actually a blacksmith as well. And like, for a guy of 28, he really has it sewn up and has it together. I think it's really great. There's not many peers. There's belief. Oh yeah, sure. I was supposed to put these up on the screen. I say most of my peers don't possess belief in literally anything. Belief itself is frowned upon unless it's belief in sport. Yeah, I know. I get it. That's where we're at today. Exactly. That's where it's I have these conversations with people about my people, the Irish. And yeah, this moral order, the Christian moral order that we had, well, it was Catholic, and I'm now coming to understandings about Catholicism, which Won't please many of the Catholics out there who maybe have subscribed to this channel. But I have to speak, as always, the truth. And I'll go into depth at that at some stage. It's going to be a difficult one for me because I come from that background. My parents were Catholic, you know, and I'll get into that at a later stage. I don't want to get into it right now, but I do think that it was maybe the nature of that religion itself which led to the where we're at now, where you're saying that. It was probably the nature of the thing itself, and then how it was revealed from within, how the structures higher up actually behave, and not that something was discovered like the abuse of small human beings. I'm afraid to use keywords here in case an algorithm comes tapping in, you know. But that it seems to have been part and parcel of that, of the higher up belief system. And it's amazing the way there's a juxtaposition between the ruling structures of the system, and then how the people walking in the door at the bottom believe what they believe. A complete difference. Yet the ones at the bottom don't realize what is going on at the top. Yet, of course, obviously, the just don't know what's going on at the bottom. But yeah, it's a funny one, and like as with all difficult truth, there is the opportunity for growth and the opportunity for something new coming from that. And that's an opportunity. That is, you know, pain and difficult feelings about something are an opportunity for growth, you know. One of the problems we have in our society is that there isn't a skill set taught to people. There isn't an assumed understanding within, like it is in common knowledge. People say things, oh yeah, that's true, yeah. You have to. Something can lead to greater knowledge. People will say words that just fall out there, and yeah, everybody goes, oh yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true. But they won't actually take it on board as they won't take it on board as something to use or do, you know, in a conscious way themselves. So what I'm saying about that is that we didn't have some kind of structure which imparted that knowledge and wisdom in a conscious way to say that, yeah, like suffering that happens organically, not that you cause intentionally, because that's psychotic, but like something that just comes about as part of, if you want to say God's plan, greater plan, to actually hone you as a human being and hone you into a better existence. We didn't have that. And so I think a lot of people, what you end up with is a lot of adult children who distract themselves with different types of addiction and different types of distractions, you know. Okay. Come on, look, there's 4 people here. Throw your words in. I'll put them up on the screen, and we'll chat. I'll give you full. This is your opportunity to say what it is that you want to say, and I won't have at you. I won't attack. I won't. I'll talk with you, and we will chat. That's what this is about. Because I want like, you're a source of information to me as much as I am to you, you know. Yeah. So what have we got? We got 14 minutes, 43 seconds. I'll give this till, we say 20 minutes in, and then I'll leave it up for a while, and I might delete it again. Yeah. So I'll delete streams as well if I think that they're not really, haven't gone anywhere. There hasn't been much input or whatever. Although I did go into a kind of a flow there after the master put up that message, and it sent me off on a flow. So that's something that might be of, with say, use to some people. They can actually use to digest and move around in their minds and see, does it make any sense to them. And I do the same with you. You give me information, you tell me something, and it gives me something to work with, and I can maybe possibly use in my life. Yes, there's a particular progression of chords which are, I don't know what it's Dorian. It's the Dorian mode or one of those modes. It's no, it's not that one. This one up here. And then down to that. But the D before, and I don't think it was a full major D. Then it goes down to, which is obviously like a D flat, some type of D flat. Colum's not around today. It was a Colin Rochford that was on there playing his drums. My internet keeps crashing. Oh my god, well. Yeah. It's okay. It's fine up here now. Anyway, I mean, it's a bit cloudy, and the clouds are moving fairly fast, and it's overcast over on the edges of the horizon there. But it's mostly okay. It's quite nice sun today here. So, hey, Red Squirrel. My God, it's been so long. D half diminished to C. Okay. Yeah. This one? That one, isn't it? Yeah. But like, in that progression, there's okay, see if we can get the sounds out of this guitar here. Depeche Mode were cool. They were good. I love a lot of 80s bands. Right, okay, yeah. Well, now that Red Squirrel's here, I haven't talked to Red Squirrel for a long time, so I'm going to stay on for another at least 10 minutes. So, can you all hear me okay? Is my sound going through? Is that fine? I know it's just a headset and a mic that comes with a normal smartphone. So, it probably has that kind of crunchy, boxy, on your jacket kind of phone call sound. All right, so yeah, you say that is a D half diminished. D half diminished. And it's decent. Thanks, Vanessa. Cheers. All right. Cool. Tavish says 5x5. All right. Nice. Okay, so anybody want to talk about anything? Put it up there and we'll have a chat. We'll have a talk about it. Yeah, and I did learn some bossa nova ages ago, but I don't know if I can play it now because I'm a little bit conscious. I haven't played it publicly like in so long, and it kind of takes you away from that space you need to be into. E minor flat 5, the proper term. Okay, cool. D minor flat 5. Not at all, no worries. Jesus, it sounds myself. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some kind of exercise, I think, in the morning. I think I get a lot of energy trapped at the back of my neck and up on my shoulders. I think I need to do some. I used to follow a guy called Elliot Holtz about 2 years ago. He was all about strength training, strength training. And he used to do this thing whereby he was a big advocate of this kind of technique whereby you stand up and you kind of bow down into your legs a little bit and you stretch back like that and open your mouth wide. You breathe through it and you work through the knots, And I think something like that, I need to do a bit more of that kind of thing, just to kind of get the air down into my lungs. Get a bit hot here now. So not at all. I think we're all moving at our own paces here, Yeah. And again, that's knowledge, isn't it? It's knowledge about our bodies. It's knowledge about how we move, how to move, how to release stress, tension, strain. And these are things which I think we need to reacquire, as a current and modern people living in the modern age. Making a coffee. Enjoy. I had a tea. Yeah. I had an Earl Grey tea. Twinings. I think they're quite nice. Enjoy your coffee. Okay. So the bossa nova, anyway, how did that go again? That's more like it. That's definitely the rhythm, but I'm obviously butchering it a little bit. Chinese tea. Duchess Gallant is having Chinese tea. What's Chinese tea then, eh? Has that got a little bit of some kind of spice or herb in it? What do you go? Ni hao ma. Ni hao ma. So yeah, that bossa nova. Oh yeah. There was a added note in the bass, I think. Well, this is going out of tune. I ordered I ordered a tuning fork from AliExpress ages ago, and I never got it. I was in the key of A. I don't have a tuning fork. I'll tell you a quaint little story. I was living in a student accommodation years ago, and here in this city, and I came down. So it was a student flat, and there was a brother and sister pair in there, and the girl that was there, she was down in the kitchen, and I came down. I don't know, I can't remember if it was the morning or in the evening, and I said, has anyone seen my tuning fork? And she kind of looked at me really weird, and all the infrastructure, all the telecoms up there. Yeah, we'll have a chat about that. I'll just finish this story first. And she said, she called me a weirdo. So she put the blame on me for her making a mistake. She thought I had said, has anyone seen my tuna fork? Like for eating tuna fish. Anywho, any thoughts on Huawei providing all the infrastructure for all the telecoms upgrades going on around Ireland at the minute? Is that a fact? Are you sure of that? Are you positive of that? My phone is Huawei. I think Ireland is being sold off piecemeal. I think that because we lost our moral order. I think because we lost our moral order, we became all about commerce, became all about the love of money, and Ireland is being sold off to the highest bidder. This flattening of flattening of the economy is going to create a lot of lost businesses that will be bought up by bigger business. And I think global corporations will come in here and buy up this country piecemeal. I'll try and do, yeah. I heard it all right. I heard it in the past. I tend not to believe things that I hear straight away because I need to see verifiable proof from, shall we say, like if the mainstream media says something like that about Huawei, then I will ask myself a number of questions. I will say, is it true? I will ask, what have they to gain by telling the public this? I will ask a number of different questions. And oftentimes, but the thing about, I do think that sometimes when something commercial like that is about to take place, I think that but the mainstream media is actually a place, is a good place to get it from. But at the same time, I don't trust them, if you know what I mean. So I don't trust the mainstream media at all, because I know it's the voice of the people who are doing all of this, you know? It is their voice. It is the voice of the beast system. It is the voice of the government who is doing the will of the people outside the country. So, you know, how can you trust that? You can't, obviously. So, and they're all about manipulation of mass consciousness. They're all about, the manufacturing of consent. They're all about all of that. So why would you trust them? You know. Literally being so long on billionaire looking to buy. That's right. Now that I did see. Yeah. And and where I go for my spins on my bike, you know, where I got the electric bike down the greenways here, I see quite a few Chinese. Now, not as many as you think, but there's like one. There was one middle-aged Chinese guy, about my own age, and he was walking up the road, and it was a lovely day. And I think there was just a good mood about the day, you know. And he kind of stood back like that as I was flying down the road, on the main road, just about to carve into the greenway. And he was coming up the. He looks like a nice guy, you know. And he stopped and he was kind of smiling like that, as looking at me as I was flying by on the bike, because he was trying to engage, I think, you know. Because he uses that greenway, and I passed him there 2 or 3 times. He kind of put his head down a little bit as he's passing by. You're being sold. Hong Kong billionaire looking to buy a chunk of land to build a mini Hong Kong outside Dundalk. Local head of chamber of commerce. Like, we're not a group anymore. We're not a collective of people. You know, they've dismantled our identity. You know, Irish people are being told they're not Irish. Irish people are being told that they have no collective identity because they come from a long line of this group, this group, this group, this group, and this group. Whereas that is who a group of people is. They come from a collection of ethnicities that fought each other or took each other over in the past. That's who an ethnic group is. And you don't dismantle their identity by saying you are this group, this group, this group, this group. That's who you are in this moment, in this timeline. So, like, you wouldn't go to a Chinese person and say, you're not Chinese, because you're made up of the Han dynasty, and you're made up of the who else was the Yang, you know, whatever. I don't know. But, you know, it's like, you wouldn't do that to them. So why do that to us, the Irish? Well, that's what they did for 20, 30 years. And that's why the Irish don't believe they're Irish, because they just regurgitated that every time I told them that they are a people. I would have the Irish people themselves brainwashed, telling me this, that we're not, you know, we're made up of Vikings, Normans. And it's like the brain switches off and the mouth starts moving, you know? So how are we supposed to fight something like that? Say like a Hong Kong billionaire comes along and actually wants to buy up a huge area outside of Dundalk. That's all up for grabs, because there is no group of people in large numbers that can gather together and say, we don't want this. You know, well, we can. Obviously, we can. But that has to be raised as a genuine issue and then given to people and say, look, you have a voice on this. You have a voice. You need to speak up about this. And there needs to be an organizing of that information given out to people across things like social media, across platform like this. Here it is right now, it's being imported. Is widely circulating in the UK. They may be just testing the public. Yes. Now, I do think that's what they do. They dip the toe in the water first. And I do think that that's what, I also think that's what voting is about. I think voting is the same thing. I don't think voting has any consequence on who you get. I think you're given 1, 2, 3 types of people who are come under the heading of that light really is not doing its job of lighting me up on that side. I'll have to bring in the studio light with the diffuser and put it up there. I can do that, I think, because as you can see, it's getting very dark on one side. So what were we talking about? Widely, yeah. So I think that's what voting is as well. I think voting. I think we've got a system. I don't think there is a democracy. I think what we've got is a system in which all parties are checked, verified, that they will speak the right rhetoric to the public, and they only get credence then. And I think that anybody who doesn't do that isn't given any kind of airtime, is demonized in the media. It's beyond rigged, though, the master. You understand? It's kind of like the whole thing with the Catholic Church that I was saying. It's like it is the system. That is what it is and has been for 50 years, 70 years. I don't know, whatever, Like we're given an illusion. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's like our politicians, I believe, are just mannequins in a window shop. They are, what we look at, but it's not. I have no evidence of it as such, but I don't believe in the concept. Yeah. So I should put that up, shouldn't I? Yeah. So, like it just makes sense. It's kind of like when you want to make sense of a problem, and you have this piece and you have this piece and you have this piece, and you put them together and you go, do they fit? Do they fit? And you go, the end result is like, that's not fitting. That's not fitting. But here's our end result. Yet these two parts aren't fitting. And it's like, okay, so we take this piece here that is kind of crazy and nobody believes this. If we fit that in and we go, oh, that actually does get the end result. And so I do think that we've been led to believe for the longest time that we have some free will, we have free will. I mean, not in the overall free will sense, but we have some exactly, no referendum on the lockdown, no referendum on mass immigration, the fact of us being fucking flooded with hundreds of thousands of people from every ethnicity in the world, no referendum on that. What's that about? Is that democracy? Obviously not. You're allowed to kill that. Exactly. So that's manufactured consent. That's manufactured consent, And so what they want is what gets enacted. And I think we're living in times where I think that personally, I believe, I'm going deep down the fucking, doing a deep dive on this one when it was only supposed to be a lighthearted chat. Yeah. Where's the worms? Somebody talk about worms and talk about fishing reels. God's sake, what are you doing to me? Talk about worms, talk about hooks. We'll do this another time. We'll go lighter this morning. All right, we've touched on it now, yeah? Or is it what you want to talk about, yeah? If this is what you want to talk about. Let's see. All right. You like it, yeah, but you see, so what did we have before we had social media? What did we have before that? We had television and we had movies. We had Hollywood movies. How did people get their opinions about things before we had social media? We had television. We had movies. Okay? Yeah, but that's also a level. That's also a level. That's also one level. Um, you know, the people who are doing this, um, yeah, the people who are doing this, I think, are they hide behind that term, and but I don't think they are that. You know, um, they're not the how do I put this? They're not the what was the term that was used before? We use a term on here so that the algorithm doesn't pick up on it. A lot of the teachings from the different books of that belief, I believe, lead to a loss of moral compass or a confusion of moral compass. I think there is a culture, and it develops a culture whereby they are all about trickery and deceiving, and delightfully so, you know. But then it's up to the person being deceived or tricked as to whether they are accept it or not. You understand? So I think that what has happened is that people of an Irish background are more of a high trust society. They're more of a Northern European high trust society. So when a media base and a movie base comes along like this, yeah. So, but you know what I'm talking about. Um, when along comes a culture which owns all the media, owns the movie making industry, and they are about manufacturing consent, and they are about the manipulation of opinion. Good morning, Colin. How are you doing? Then what you get with the people in the northern climes who are just, as I said, of a very straight needle on the compass, north. You know, this is this, that is that. We grow those crops, we farm those animals, we have communities, and we work together. You know, when your culture is about that, the two cultures don't match, and the culture that is of the one you described there, the master, tends to they are a test. You understand? As long as you understand what they're doing, as long as you understand what their purpose is, you don't take the ticket. But the problem is that we've lost our moral order, and our moral order is what kept us from taking the ticket. Now we're taking tickets left, right, and center. And so you have people taking mortgages out for houses for however many years now. They are, but they're also, you got to understand, they're also within God's realm. You know, they're also within God's realm. They're part of the functioning order. You understand? They like, you've got to. It's an education. It's they teach us about ourselves, and it's up to us whether we accept the stupidity, accept the blind. Like if all you do is jerk off all day, you know, or you watch pornography, well, your brain is going to be gone. Your ability to see clearly is going to be gone. Your ability to understand what you see is going to be gone. And so that's up to you, you know? That's where you come in, not them. Understand? So it's about tempering yourself. And it's about, like, this is why I keep going on about a moral order, because you're not going to navigate around these issues or problems without that. I don't know what the Mercurians are. Anybody any heads up on what Mercurians mean? It's not one of these planetary things. I do think I have an idea more of what you're talking about when you say Mercury and stuff. Yeah. I think I'm give us a few more words there and explain that a little bit more. And but I think I know where you're going with that. Yeah. So you understand, this is why I keep talking about a moral order. Everybody keeps talking about fighting the system, fighting the system, fighting the system, you know? You're not going to fight the system. You're not going to. You're not going to succeed. You have to get a moral order in order to see through the system and to see what the truth is and see what is reality. Okay, so we've got a mixing of metaphors and the changing of terms here. Which one is it? Terminology by Slezkine in the 18th century. Used by Slezkine. Okay, very good. All right. I'll look that up. Okay. All right. Let me just. There. All right. Oh, is that getting pressed down? I have a stand here which is holding my phone up, and it just came loose there in the little clasp. Hang on a second. All right, that's better. Okay. All right, I'll look that up, but I don't get too deep into we are essentially classified as no. Well, you see, they're all terms. You know, they're all terms. I'm about the concept. I'm about the understanding of the concept and what you do with it. You know, it's nice to have all these terms. That's fine. You know, but again, that can get you lost. That can get you lost up in etymology and the labeling of things. What I would suggest is you do is hone a moral compass and navigate through that system. You know, grow your own food, have large families, develop community with like-minded individuals. And what are you doing there? Well, then you're developing your own system. You know, it's like when they say that, you know, for Halloween is cancelled or something like that, where everybody has to wear masks and can't go around from door to door in Halloween for Halloween. Well, you know, if you have, with say, you know, 15 families that all agree together on how to behave, you know, have a shared morality, well, then who's to stop you from going around to each other's doors and actually sharing out sweets to the kids and spreading some joy with your neighbors and getting to know your neighbors more? You know, that's like that was, and actually I want to talk about that before I see there's more comments there. But hey, Conscious Sarah, how you doing? I'll get to that in a second. That's a very interesting premise. Yeah, I just want to talk on a personal note. It actually ached me to see. I went out on the bike on Halloween night, and I went out to one of the satellite areas here, and I went out to one of the satellite communities, and the near where I go to make the videos for the stream, you know, and not the live stream, the water stream, and the houses up the other side, they all had all the sweets and lanterns and all that placed outside the door, you know. It just seemed sterile to me, because I'll give you an example, right? When I was a child, when in the town I lived in the square where I lived in, I remember one Halloween night. This is how Halloween was conducted. We all dressed up as kids. We went around from door to door, trick or treating. Okay, and there was this one old couple who used to take us in, and they had tons of games set up for us. Right, the guy had obviously had cancer of the throat at one stage. When he talked, he had one of those white. Do you notice that they're not around anymore? You don't see them anymore. But he had one of those white kind of filter things that sticks out, and when he talks, you have to put the talks like that, you know. He had one of those, but he answered the door and he brought us in, and his wife was there, and there was loads of us kids. There was loads of us, and we all went around playing. What was the apple in the? There was the apple in the basin game, you know, where you had to pick the apple up with your mouth. It was so much fun. It was great crack, and you know, for the adults. Then what would the adults be doing while the kids are playing those games? Well, the adults would be talking, you know, community would be bonding and structuring that bit more, you know. And so when I saw on Halloween night that families had left out stuff outside the door, but they themselves remained inside, it ached. It hurt me a little bit because I saw what was being lost. I saw what was being forfeited. You know. Okay, so move on here. I was using classic Paul. Leave that up. So those that essentially live off the productive work of the Apollonians in what could be described as parasitic manner. Well, yeah. There will always be workers and there will always be people who delegate and organize the work, you know. Um, the point is, do you take their ticket? Do you adhere to your own group under a moral order that you share with that group? Do you understand? If you don't, then you are clearly and ably to be used individually by that ruling class, by that delegating group. You understand? So, okay, move on here. So, so the conscious error says that the moral order needs to come from the culture, and at the moment the culture is very anti the moral order. It is, so that's a problem. That needs to be tackled if moral order is going to be introduced. So you're saying that the problem is that the culture is very anti-moral order. Well, you see, what do your terms mean there? So when you say anti-moral order, they're anti-Christian, you know, because for the longest time Christianity has been demonized in the media, and there have been many manipulations of events which has colored the thinking of the people, the culture, as to how to think about organized religion. And I did look up. I went onto the Catholic Arena, conscious error, and I looked up what you suggested to look up about the Tune Babies thing, and they made some very good points. You know, I was impressed. I was impressed by the layout that what they had laid out. That there are no photographs of bones, there are no photographs of graves, there are no photographs of a septic tank, and so there's nothing really, you know, for them to talk about. And so, you know, like the thing is that, like I just noticed there that one of the viewers left after I started talking like that and about that. And this is going to happen. But like, we're not going to agree on things, and there are people who are going to diametrically oppose what it is you're talking about, and that's fine. That's okay. But then this is my channel, and I'm going to speak what I think and what I believe in, and what I think is the truth and the objective truth. And I will also talk about, you know, my own subjective interpretations of that. Well, I have to be careful with my words. I don't think you subjectively interpret the objective truth. The objective truth is, and then you adapt to it. And I think I'd rather go with that, I think. So, yeah, so the moral order. See, so I've been talking about moral order, and I'm doing that. I'm not saying like God's law all the time, which I should be, because I don't want to frighten people away too quickly. I want people to get the understanding that the idea of God's law and a moral law is as much about a philosophical understanding, a rationalization of that, as is just blind faith, you know. And I want to get thinkers on board with this as well, people who can think it through, so that they can then help spread the good news, the good word. Hallelujah. But like, I want people to come at it from different points of views, you know, from different angles, not just one, and to think it through, to rationalize it, to be able to learn to think critically, that there's point A, after point A comes B, after point B comes C, after C is D, and so on, and the relationship between them. You know, that's critical thinking, as far as I can tell, unless somebody else can contradict me on that and come up with another alternative. Red Squirrel's down here as well saying something. The master said this: a ghost left a black bra outside. Well, consider yourself lucky. A black one, eh? My God. And a ghost what the master says. Were they full of sweets? Sweeties. Okay, so the conscious are interesting. Yes, it probably does equate to that on it. Okay. I'll put up your comments as we go through. Red Squirrel says our culture society promotes individualism. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And that is again like what a lot of the videos that I have been creating on my channel have been dealing with that issue. That we have had our identity dismantled. I mean, effectively dismantled. And you know, I won't ever stop saying that. I won't ever stop describing that. Like I have an Estonian friend, right? And he's a good friend, and I like the guy. He can be a difficult character at times, but he's a good bloke. And I've said to him, you know, no, I have these arguments with him at times, and he has no roots to this country. He's no emotional tie to it. Like I asked him, what will you do if this all goes tits up? Where will you go then? He said, what do you do then? He said, well, I'll just find another country. he's like the wandering Borg, you know. He has no roots. He has no emotional, you know, physiological connection to where he is, you know. So he's rootless. But he tried to do the same thing to me one time. He said, you know, the Irish are made up of Vikings, Normans, and you had all these people. I said, yeah, I said, you're describing who we are. That's who we are. You know who isn't like that is the Congolese. They're not made up of Vikings, Normans. Neither are Pakistanis. Neither are the Chinese. Neither are Brazilians. It's who we are. Like, so do you understand how reality is used and inverted to subvert? You know, that's why that's another point I want to keep getting out there is that who the master was talking about earlier there, they use reality and subvert it. They invert it, reality. So what's going on right now? You know, there's something that everybody, like a killer thing that is everybody has to protect themselves from, la, 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 la. But it's like, there's also a theory called terrain theory where it's part of your body. It's what your body does when it's toxic, incredibly toxic, that your white blood cells won't even go near. And then you go into a state of something like what the flu is, where your body tries to dissolve the toxic part of your system, your cells, your body, and in a cold or a flu or whatever. But those terms have come under that term, the C term, right, with a number, not the number, but the C term. And basically, it's like saying, you know, what did he die of? Well, he died of left legism. Really? Yeah, he had left leg. It killed him in the end, his left leg. You know? Oh, okay. You know? So there's that theory as well, and that's something that you may consider. And this is how they invert reality. They take the truth and they invert it. And then, you know, it's like you can't argue with that because it's still the truth, you know? Well, you can argue with it, but it's how you argue about it and with it. We need to recollect it. Yes, we do. Human nature is very complex, but we all need to understand. Oh, sorry, Colin, I'll put that up on there. Human nature is very complex, but we all need to understand that we all need to protect Ireland. Well, you say Ireland, but like, is it the people? You know, to me, it's the people. Yeah, and I maybe that's what you mean. Okay, like even those young lads, you know, those young lads who get organized by paid NGO groups, you know, Antifa, right? They dress all in black, and they're only young kids, you know, they're only like in late teens, early 20s. And you know, like the nationalists would be up in arms about them, and they'd be like, you know, you're a traitor, and all. I won't fight them. I won't ever go against them. Why? Because they're my tribe. I have that much strong in-group preference. You know, I'll defend myself if it ever came to it, but I defend myself from anybody attacking me. But those are my extended family. You know, like, and anyway, they have issues. Like if a young Antifa member came up to me, I'd go like, you know, forgive your father. You know, just forgive him. Like, when are you going to forgive your father? You know, when are you going to do that? You know, he needs you to forgive him, and you need to forgive him for you to move forward. Because that's what these kids are about. they were failed by weak men. You understand? They're like this because they were failed by weak men. You know, human nature is very complex, but we all need to understand that. Yes, yeah, and I think what Colin is saying there is we need to have in-group preference, and it's a way of protecting the group. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, is there any pending court case? Let me see this now. Where the hell am I? The master said, so there's any pending court case with the Jim babies. It's just far too easy to literally make anything up in the current era with zero repercussions. Who are the media? They're accountable to no one, the master. Exactly. They're not accountable to anybody. And that's why they can say these things. Because, well, they are accountable. They're accountable to their masters. They're accountable to their handlers. They're accountable to their people who have the noose around their neck and put the money in their wallet. That's in their bank account. That's who they are. They're accountable to. But very good point. And that, of course, is the fact that is one of the greatest issues with masculinity in Ireland, is that there is no accountability. There's no accountability to a higher power. There's no accountability to a strong father. There's no accountability. So, you know, you see the problem. Okay. The conscious hour says, yep, there's people who are very religious on our side, and there's people like myself who are not particularly like that, but still respect that side of things so long as it doesn't dominate too much. Okay. Depends what you mean by dominate. You know, I'm not for, would say, like a religious order telling me what to do. I'm for guidance. I'm for somebody who knows a bit more than I do about maybe the machinations and mechanics of a scripture, the Bible or something. And then I can refer to that person and say, are you, and then we can talk about it, you know. I'd be for that. But to give them power has to be that's not like, you don't call another man your father, you know. You're supposed to only call, we say, God the Father, and you're only supposed to call your own biological father your father in the Bible, you know. That this is what I've picked up. Like, it depends what you mean by dominate. For me, I understand, you hear me talking and you hear that I have come to a realization that we're at where we're at because we've lost the moral order, and we've lost the conceding to a higher power, especially men. And that is a lack of being dominated by a structure which cannot be a structure that allows you to navigate through the lies and deceit of this world. So depends what you mean by not allowed to dominate. Do you mean like an organized structural church, or do you mean a living system? I guess is how I would put it. I'll leave it at that for a second now. Conscious Sarah also in his next message says, and recognizing where such people need to be reined in a bit is important, as out and out religiosity is very off-putting for the average punter. Yes, I know, I get that. And listen, it's off-putting to me as well. As I said, I've been an atheist for 27 years. I'm now beginning to see that what was needed all along, what is needed now in order to get out of this situation. And I'm not saying that because first I became religious, or first I've become Christian, and first and now then I'm thinking that what's happening to us right now with what the government is doing and has been doing, it's not. I'm seeing that there is an actual rational answer to where we're at. Like, I'm a very functional person. I like to go to the toilet. I'm a very practical person, I think is what I mean to say, right? So let's see, the conscious air. Interesting, Ori Stony fan. I know a few foreigners on. Yeah, they're the people who are the real opportunists that left their countries. You know, they are the people who are the highest in personality traits, which leads to opportunism. High in openness, high in maybe disagreeableness, high in they have those personality traits which lends them to be the opportunists par excellence that leave their countries, and that's who we're bringing in here. And they are ruthless people. I don't mean ruthless. Maybe some of them are ruthless, but they are the real opportunists. They are the people who will really make efforts to survive, and it's not down to where they live to do so. Okay. Red Squirrel says, whatever and whoever combines to make us who we are today, this does not mean that we don't have the right to defend who we are into the future. Yeah. I want to read that again. Whatever and whoever combines to make us who we are today, this does not mean that we don't have the right to defend who we are into the future. You're talking about our history, aren't you? You're talking about our ethnic makeup. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah. The people, yes, and Colin agreed that I got it right earlier. What he was saying. Okay. Protecting our culture and our way of life, our government needs to govern its own people. Colin, the thing is that when you keep giving the government power, the government keeps wanting more power. That's the problem with government. It's by its very nature, it wants to grow because human beings want more. That is the nature of human beings. That is the human condition. And so it's human beings that make up the government. I would also say, though, that the government is not what we thought it was. It's not a group of people who have power. I think they have a certain type of power, but it is an enslavement power with no real say in how things are done. Need to govern like the idea of a government originally is to actually just take care of the basics, and there will always be a government. Like wherever you have more than 5 people, 3 people, one of them will have to, everyone will have different roles to play within that group. Someone has to go off and get the fish. Somebody has to go off and get the water. Somebody has to go off and build the houses. And so there's a delegation of labor. And so who's delegating? All will agree once the numbers grow in a community or group of people, there will always be those people who are deemed more wise and more, like in all the times it was what you call the elders, and they would have delegated wisdom, knowledge, roles, and activities. So protecting our culture and our world, our government needs to govern its own people. Yeah, well, at the moment we're being governed by foreign powers. So all right. So the conscious error. I mean that it shouldn't be that nationalism. Oh, sorry, hang on a second. I mean that it shouldn't be that nationalism gets defined as being all of it. I know, I agree totally. Yeah, all about over Catholicism. I have a completely different take on Catholicism now. Conscious error. I'll talk about that at some stage. If you go back and look at the start of this video, I did mention. I started to allude towards my own understanding, where my own understanding has come to about Catholicism. And yeah, I would agree with that. As Niall and Gemma would have it, I think this is a guaranteed way to alienate normal people. Well, yeah, agreed. But also too, the Catholic Church was a way of controlling normal people for the longest time. And they're just different faces for the same beast. I'll keep saying it, the government, the Catholic Church, they're just different faces, of the same thing. The Catholic Church was run by the powers of the Catholic Church, All right, so so the conscious error says, I'll shut up now as I'm starting to dominate the chat now. You work away, man. Just keep throwing ideas in here, and more than welcome. This is what this is about. Don't hold yourself back. Nobody is to censor themselves here. Just, within reason. And Colin says that's true. Red Squirrel says, at the conscious error. Oh, yeah, you're having a chat with yourself there. They are more damaging to nationalism than the left. Okay. Right. Okay, that's a fair amount gone through there. Anybody else want to talk about anything else? I'll give it another, say, another 5-10 minutes. And then I must go and clean myself up and head into town and do a bit of shopping. Ding, 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 ding. Look at all my picks. Look, that's my favorite pick. That one. And there's another one. It's got a funny shape on the top. That one actually. I must have played with that one a lot in the past, but actually play with my nails. Well, I'm kind of weaning myself for the last couple of years out of playing with my nails and more into using picks again. It just seems to be the way the songs that I'm writing get constructed with more kind of, strumming styles. Conscious Air, really liking your videos at the moment. That last one you did on oppressor oppressed ideology as to why Europeans, English and Irish, don't feel that they can stand up as a group and stop the hordes and masses from flooding into our countries because of critical theory and Marxism. I think it was a very good video, and you put a lot of intensity into that video, which I think matched the content, and I thought that was very good. Interesting chat that shares, yeah. Oh, hang on, Jimmy Johnny's back here. What does he say? Because we've lost the moral order, that is why the elite are imposed. Yes, Jimmy gets it in one statement. All right. Conscious Air, need to make the lunch now. Food is important, and I must do the same shortly. The Master says, Church now bows to the neoliberal mindset. Yes, so whatever has co-opted the government did the same to the exactly, all the same. Writing that predates 1930 would be classed as hate speech by today's yeah. Well, you see that too with even with movies, don't you? You see it with movies like Gone with the Wind being censored at the opening on Netflix. There's statements saying that the content of this movie has potentially offensive and racist terms in it, and activity. So Conscious Sarah says, thanks a lot, man. Yes, it's a huge point, or the oppressor oppressed dialectic. Yeah, big one. And it works very well on Northern Europeans because I think biologically we have a stronger propensity for shame among groups of people, and which is why you see an awful lot of there's also the whole male-female thing, which say where women no longer are expected to have the role of mothers or wives, and so what they end up being is cast out into the world with all the subset of instincts that come with a mother and wife, and they basically try to get the same. They're using those instincts across across things like social media and in public to virtue signal, which is that instinct is very good in an actual, real, close-knit group of women, because then they all keep each other in check. But when it comes to it not being about families, not being about children, well, then they like a cookie cutter superimpose those instincts onto bringing people, suffering people, and we know they're not, suffering people coming from other countries into our countries. And so, as you can see again, the moral order between God, man, woman, child back around to God. Once you lose it, you end up with these problems. Talk to neighbours if you can. Good one, Colin. Talk to neighbours if you can. Help out and talk about what's going on in simple talk. It's hard to explain. It's important to talk about today and make people feel human. Big time, Colin. Big time. Good one. And it's that kind of humanity, that kind of behavior, not virtue signaling humanity, looking, but real warmth that you will the people in my city who know me and were friends with me on social media, I've had tons unfriend me, they can't fault me personally, because I am such a warm, considerate, and enjoyable human being, and an intelligent person, an intelligent human being. Like, it's obvious. It's an obvious thing. And so when you take your humanity to your interactions and engagement with people, when you then actually start to talk about these other things, people have to juxtapose those against your actual personality and behavior and go, he's not a bad guy, so, but he holds these views. So, there's a cognitive dissonance there that they have to deal with, Now, I'm not saying to be a nice person for that reason, to lever people into, we say, believing the right thing or a true thing, but it helps just being a good human being anyway, to your neighbors, to your community, helps. Yeah. Now, I do make choices about who I help, and it hurts me when I can't. I actually feel it when I can't. Like, there are North Africans living next door to me here, and I've chosen not to interact with them because they have to know that they have to go home. If we just keep accepting and accepting and accepting people from all over the world here, well then, and saying, yeah, and keep smiling at them, yes, it's fine, yeah, it's fine. Take our land, take our homes, take our jobs, take our women, Irish just keep smiling, like, you're saying to them it's okay, you're saying that's okay. You have to, for me, I have to draw the line somewhere. Like, I can see one or two of those guys next to, I would probably get on better with them than I would with most of Irish people here, because what I see, one of them is a very industrious, productive man, and I'm the same. I like that, and I would probably have great discussions with the guy. I see another one of them is an observant Muslim, and they're not too far from Christianity when you observe Christianity the same way from the Bible. We probably have, morally speaking, a lot more in common than the liberals, the neoliberals who believe, whatever you want to believe, So, I could say, insert a few things here, statements, but I'm not going to. So, I have to draw a line, and it hurts me because I would like that community. I would like those people, have friends with those people next door. But I have to draw the line and say, you're not Irish. You're North African. You need to go home to your own country and do good things there with it. That is what your ethnicity is. That's where your culture is. That's where your heritage is. That's where your history is. Look at all those things: culture, heritage, history. They're all yours there, not here. You are adrift here. You are rootless here. Rootless. You're not there. That's your home. You shouldn't have jumped out of it, ditched out of it to come to this system, And so I need to portray that. I need to portray that in my behavior. And so I make a conscious choice to do that, even though it hurts me as well, as much as anybody. Because they're Irish, dude. Well, it's about in-group preference, If you keep extending your in-group preference to further and further and further afield, then you don't have an in-group. You no longer have an in-group. Every group is your in-group. And that's not really human nature. That's not the human condition. It is more female. It's more female to be inclusive, to be kind, caring, and inclusive to the entire group. That's what mothers do. They include, and they make safe. And that's their nature. But then it's not the nature of the masculine to do that. It is to a degree in certain contexts, but it's not nature, and again, you know, if you want to talk religiously, there are religious texts to say that you're not supposed to do that. You know, our altruism is used against us. We need to be exclusionary. Red squirrel. 2 people ditched now after speaking about all that stuff. Can't please everybody. You see. Our altruism is used against us. We need to be exclusionary. Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. You know, and it puts a downer on me when I have to talk about this stuff like this. You know, this is what's been hoisted on us in our own lands and our own country. You know, that we have to make these choices. Instead of having our own people that we can just freely live a life through. You know, and that's why forced diversity is wrong. You know, yeah, I don't want to leave on a bad note. All right, so I'm just gonna go and make myself a sandwich, and a quick cup of tea, and share and head into town and get some shopping and get on with the day, do a few things. If the weather clears up a bit, I might head out on the bike. I wish you all a good day. Down to 6. Take care. All right, we'll do it again tomorrow. Bye.